Hello and welcome to a very special mini dose episode of Women Are the Medicine. I'm absolutely thrilled that you are here because today I'm going to be talking about one of my most favourite subjects ever, and that is microdosing. This episode is for anyone who's curious about the benefits of microdosing. Whether you know nothing at all or you know a little bit, my aim is to give you some clarity on why you might even consider microdosing. And if your curiosity is sparked, I'd love to invite you to a live workshop where we're going to go into much more depth. So, quick disclaimer. Sadly, psychedelics are only legal in a handful of countries, even for therapeutic use. That said, more people than ever are exploring psychedelics, whether it's microdosing, macrodosing, talking about them, writing about them. It's even made it onto Oprah. Yes, psychedelics have gone properly mainstream. And our mission at Women of the Medicine is to educate, to help safeguard against misinformation, against potential risks, and to provide you with reliable and grounded information so that you're fully informed before you make any decisions. Now, a little bit about me, because honestly, I wouldn't be the host of this podcast. I wouldn't be the co-founder of Women of the Medicine. I wouldn't be having this incredible life where I'm traveling the world without a little help from LSD. Microdosing, this very clever substance, completely and utterly changed the trajectory of my life. It set me on a path that I am endlessly grateful for, and I will share with you my story in a moment. But let's first ground ourselves in the basics. So what on earth is microdosing, and is it safe? Microdosing just means taking very small amounts of a substance over time, usually with a clear intention and a specific purpose. And in this context, we're talking about psychedelics, such as psilocybin, commonly known as magic mushrooms, or LSD, acid. But you can also microdose with legal psychoactive plants, such as canna or blue lotus. Now, for most people, healthy people, it's perfectly safe to microdose. And for each substance, there are some contraindications, especially if you're on medication, so it's always worth doing your research. However, the doses are so small. We are talking micro here. So that means that you don't feel high, and you might not feel any noticeable effects, actually, unless you're really paying attention. So why even microdose if you don't feel the effects? Well, over time, you do start to notice things, and the reported benefits are truly compelling. So James Fadiman, who's often called the godfather of microdosing, documented self-reported studies, and these showed decreased depression and uplifted mood. Yes, microdosing tiny amounts of psychedelics can help you to feel happier. Reduced anxiety and more peace and calm. It can help to regulate your nervous system. Hurrah! Also, microdosing can increase your creativity and your productivity. Brilliant. Plus, although more research is needed, there are potential effects such as hormone regulation and helping with chronic pain. And the reason that those Silicon Valley types really enjoyed microdosing and working with psychedelics is because of the creativity and the problem solving. And they're not entirely wrong, right? These are the most incredible substances for that. But that's just the surface. There's so much more to microdosing, especially for women. So let me tell you about my story. Because a few years back now, we're talking pre-COVID, life on the outside looked really good. I was traveling the world, I had a job, I had regular income, but under the surface, I was struggling. I was carrying this low-level anxiety that I just couldn't shift. It was persistent. I did have days of deep depression. In fact, I remember going to the doctors and them saying, "Do you want antidepressants?" I was like, "No, I don't want to go down that road." But I have to say, I was just feeling like, I don't know, dissatisfaction with life. I wanted more. I wanted a bigger life. I wanted more things. And yet I didn't know what that was or how to get it. And I was just, in fairness, I was in this wheel of resentment. I didn't know why I was unhappy. I felt like I should be grateful for my life, but but I was resentful and I started taking it out on my now husband. I was trying all the things. I was going to yoga. I was doing meditation. I was exercising. Nothing was really helping. Like it would help a little bit and then I would fall back again. And I just knew that I couldn't keep going like that. And then I came across a book. And this book was A Really Good Day by Eilert Waldman. And she was writing about her experience of using LSD for mood disorders. So basically low mood. And it really struck a chord with me. And what she reported was not only that her mood was uplifted, but her relationships started to get better. She was more creative. It was like this plethora of really good days, as the title suggests. So I made a decision that if I could find some, I was going to try microdosing LSD. But it's not like you can just go to the pharmacy and pick this thing up. I'm like, where on earth did I get hold of this? By chance, I met a woman at the gym who used to be an LSD chemist. Yes, really. I've never met one since. I didn't meet one before. And she helped me to get a very, very small amount because you don't need a lot for microdosing. And I began experimenting just for my own personal use. I didn't really know what I was doing or how to microdose. I was kind of making it up. I knew the dosage, but I was just doing it ad hoc. And yet, even though I didn't really know what I was doing, over that summer, everything started to shift for me. The first thing that I noticed was that I started to feel less anxious. I wasn't waking up in the morning with that ball of anxiety, that tummy fluttery kind of leading into my chest anxiety. Great, that was gone. I was sitting down to work. I was a freelancer and I was just being more creative. I was having more ideas. But most importantly, here's the real difference, is that not only was I having new ideas, but I actually started to act on them. And I don't mean small little moves. I'm talking about big, bold moves. And so one of the things I did is that I invested $18,000 in a coaching program. I paid the guy over the phone and just watched a webinar. My intuition was saying, yes, this is exactly what you've been looking for. And my entire logical mind was going, oh my God, you don't even have the money. You've got to put this on a credit card. What are you doing? It was scary, but it was a game-changing leap for me. Okay, that was the first thing. The second thing is later that year, I happened to be at a beautiful sculpture park in Dorchester called Sculpture by the Lakes. And I happened to speak to the owner and I said, your grounds are amazing. Like it would be perfect for a wellbeing festival. And he was like, great. Do you want to do it with me? And I was like, yes. And again, it was this big, bold move. And Simon and I created what became one of Dorset's most beloved conscious festivals. We drew thousands of people to these events over the space of 5 years. And I know that we changed people's lives. We're so proud of what we created. And when I look back at that time, I hadn't realized that the coaching and the LSD I'd stumbled upon a magic formula, basically. The LSD had given me what was called enhanced neuroplasticity, which just means that your brain is becoming more flexible, a bit like when you're younger. Like it's much easier to learn a language or a musical instrument when you're young, right? And that's because your brain is neuroplastic and your brain is nice and malleable. As you get older, you start to lose that and your brain becomes more rigid. So when we say enhanced neuroplasticity, what we mean is that the process of learning new skills and seeing things differently and breaking old habits gets easier, right? Old patterns loosen, new connections form more easily. You're more open to fresh perspectives and ideas. So that's why microdosing was so powerful for me when I was combining it with coaching, where I was actively focused on creating change, right? So this can work as well if you're in therapy. It's not like the substance does the work for you. It's just that things feel more possible. Transformation is easier. It's like you're softening the soil and you're making it more fertile so that you can plant new seeds. So in this instance, the LSD was supporting my brain's ability to change. And when I was coached by these incredible coaches alongside this, my growth accelerated beyond imagination. I shifted my identity. I created a 6-figure online coaching business within a matter of months. When I look back, it was insane. So I knew that I had to find out more about microdosing. I wanted to be informed, especially as a coach, because I knew this was going to come in helpful for my clients. So I embarked on a certification with what is now called the Psychedelic Coaching Institute. It was the third wave. And I actually was invited to become core faculty on that for the program that Rachel and I both trained on. So I met Rachel there. We later became business partners for Women in the Medicine. And I remember when we were sharing our microdosing stories, we were like, this has got to be one of the first things that we do, right? We need to harness the power of microdosing for our female clients. And so we have. That the real magic of microdosing is not that it's a magic pill. Okay. I mentioned this earlier. It doesn't fix you. It's not passive. But when you combine it with intentional practices, it can accelerate and it can support change, especially helpful for women. Okay. And it does this by three things. It amplifies. So psychedelics actually are referred to as non-specific amplifiers. And what that means is that they turn up the volume on what's already there, especially at a microdose level. So our clients report feeling more strong emotions, right? Or emotions more strongly, whether it's anxiety or joy or restlessness or excitement, aliveness. There's no distinction between good and bad here. And that's really important. You are accessing a more heightened awareness. And the way that we see emotions is that they are feedback, right? They're not good or bad. They're just telling you what needs attention. So it's really important to have emotional intelligence when you're working with psychedelics. The second thing that they do is they help to surface insights. So things that you might have been avoiding, things that you might have been pushing down start to come to the surface. So we kind of view microdosing like a torch, shining a light on what needs to change, where your boundaries are shitty and are being crossed and you might need to maintain them or at least establish them. It also points out to you where your boundaries are too rigid. They can help highlight what really matters to you and what doesn't matter to you. And this knowledge, although it brings clarity, can also feel uncomfortable, right? Which is why we say microdosing is not always a really good day. The third thing is shifting. And this is where the magic does come in, because microdosing can act as a powerful agent of change, literally helping you to see things differently. Because of the enhanced neuroplasticity, your brain is talking to itself in ways that it hasn't done before. So you become more open to new possibilities, and it's creating a buffer between you and your automatic reactions. So you become more conscious of your choices, and it gives you the space to respond in new ways. Can you see how these three things can help you to make radical transformation? So we like to think of microdosing as the Swiss Army knife of transformational tools, because at its core, microdosing supports a more authentic relationship with yourself. But from there, you can direct it at anything in your life that you want to change. Your habits, your relationships with other people, your desires and your dreams and your courage to step into the life that you truly want. But the truth is, you still have to do the heavy lifting. And this is something that people really don't tend to realize, because even though microdosing isn't rocket science, what we see is clear patterns of how women who microdose self-sabotage. And usually this is because they're dismissing the practice of microdosing when they're not seeing the immediate results, because they don't understand neuroplasticity. Women also struggle with those heightened emotions, right? With the resistance that comes with that, the resistance to knowing what needs to change, having clarity, right? And actually having to go put your big girl pants on and step into action. And also not having a supportive protocol or framework or community to work in, because the resistance is real. Now, all of this is why Rachel and I have created a female-focused approach to microdosing. So we've drawn on decades of working with women and combined with an understanding of female psychology to go much, much deeper than that Silicon Valley, let's get more creative and let's be more productive. It has its place, but honestly, Do women really need to be more productive? What we need to do is let go of the overwhelm and that feeling of restlessness that stops us from enjoying life, the guilt when we rest, the fear of failure that stops us from playing big. We really need to love ourselves fully and love our lives. And we know that when microdosing is used intentionally, it can be a really powerful ally in this. So we have an invitation for you. If you're curious, we'd really love to invite you to our How to Microdose workshop. We're running 2 different sessions to suit different time zones. Wednesday, the 24th of September at 1 p.m. UK time, and Thursday, the 25th of September at 7 p.m. UK time. Now, what we're going to cover is how to know if microdosing is right for you. We're going to go through the various substances that you can choose, what works for what intention, and also the different dosages to consider. We're going to go through the exact protocol for women, the methodology, the process for microdosing. And of course, we're going to cover those mistakes and those common pitfalls. But the key thing that we want to show you, which is completely different to every other microdosing program out there, how to microdose, is about how you make the most of that enhanced neuroplasticity. And of course, we're going to answer all of your questions live. So you're going to walk away with a deep understanding of the skill of microdosing and whether or not it's right for you. So if this sparks your curiosity or you know someone who might benefit, check the show notes for the links. We would love to see you there. And I just want to say thank you for listening. That's it for today's mini episode. Microdosing is not a magic pill, but its effects can feel magical. It's about fostering presence, growth, and possibility. And with the right tools, it can be one of the most powerful allies on your journey of transformation. Okay, everyone, I'll see you on the next episode. Sending you lots of love.